For this conversation, I spoke with Wafaa Saied, who is a singer from Gaza, Palestine, about what it means to be from Gaza during everything that's happened in the last year and a half and before that, as well as what it is to be a Palestinian in Germany, a country where your own very existence is a problem and a threat to the so-called reason of state. So we touched a lot of issues, and Wafaa is very charming and emotionally intelligent. So I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. Stay mad.
زعق طير الحمام وقال يا روحي غيرك مين يسليني يا روحي أنا نجا كل هم لفديكم بروحي مش لازم على الدنيا حياة.
Welcome to another episode of Mad in Germany. This time I'm joined by Wafaa Saied, a singer from Gaza who's also been giving concerts in Berlin, singing traditional Palestinian music and music from the region, as well as protagonist of a forthcoming short film, Wafaa from Gaza. So Wafaa, thanks for coming on the channel today.
Oh, sure. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
So I want to start off with a question that I think everyone wants to ask Palestinians and especially people from Gaza. In Germany, in the last year and a half, we've seen arguably an unprecedented crackdown on free speech, on civil liberties, while at the same time, your people have been suffering so much. What does that mean? What has it been like for you the last 18 months?
I mean, as a Palestinian, I already know before the 7th of October, I know how, I struggled with being a Palestinian from Gaza in Germany, and maybe the paper-wise, because I've never got the opportunity to even get any papers here in Germany or any recognition. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't know where you're from. We can't declare anything for you because we don't know the issue with your issue. We don't know where you're from. And they were...
I mean, your whole identity is sort of problematized
exactly.
Here, right?
No, it started maybe the first week I came in to the German schools and we were supposed to introduce each other about ourselves. And I was like, I'm Wafaa, I'm from Palestine. And we had to pin the little flag, and I couldn't. Not even on the map, not even on the atlas, not even on anything. And the woman,
They didn't let you?
No, it was it wasn't there. And I was 15 years old. I just came from Gaza. And it was not only a shock, but what is that? I'm not on the map. I'm not recognized at all. And the teacher was maybe you could say you're from Syria or from Egypt or from something. And I was this is not a thing you tell a child. Mm-mm. Even if I was very proud about being from Palestine, from Gaza. Mm-hmm. And I was happy of telling everyone where I'm from. And at that moment I knew where am I and what my new kind of issue in Germany is. And wow. From that school, I started to have issues about wearing my Palestinian map, a necklace, in the library, and I had to have a presentation for 2 hours. Where am I from? For my classmates. Where am I from? What am I? My relations to the resilience in Gaza. Mm. What my history is, and I tried to explain to everyone. And I couldn't win that argument. After almost 3 years, I had to leave that school. And that was also a big struggle on the smaller, on this small point, it's even only in the school. If you go wider even, you could say that even before the genocide started, it's when I go to the Behörde or I go to something, I scroll and I'm trying to find out where am I. It's it's not there.
Palestinian territories, do they say?
No. It's staatenlos, which means
stateless.
It's stateless.
Yeah.
And it's with the time you go numb. With the time you realize where you are and just go with it. And then what happens is you get reminded, especially in the last 15 to 16 months, you get reminded where you're living. I used to, as a kid, love to go to the demonstrations. And also before the 7th of October, I used to go always on the streets in Germany as well, because it is right. It is my right. Mm-hmm. But after that, when I saw how the polices and the people were so violent, I couldn't deal, not with the violent thing, but like with the mean in their eyes.
The cruelty,
I couldn't,
yeah.
exactly, I couldn't deal with it. I would just weep and cry for like 2 days afterwards, and I couldn't cope with it. And I had to fight, like, to choose my battles. Like, am I on the stage better, or am I on the streets better? And also, the dehumanizing thing, it's like, it's not only in the politician kind of ways, it's not only in the parliaments and on the press, it's also on the streets, like with the German people. And that hits me a lot, because I know I'm not a kid anymore. I know how the politicians are and the relations between them. But you hope sometimes, like, the people, like, as well as you, they would deal with you as a human being. And also, I used to think that the people who don't believe in the Palestinian cause are just few. They're not that much. Because it's a dumb idea, you know what I mean? As a kid. It's like, it's dumb. No one believed them. Because in my point of view, it's a dumb idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I do think if you look at polling, I think it's sort of, in Germany, is a bit of an outlier on this. A lot of people do support some kind of solution, whether it's a two-state solution or whatever. So I feel like there's definitely politicians are the people who are much more pro-Israel here. More
It's
than
not only
anyone
that.
else.
No, it's that the neutral being, it's what kills me. It's like when I have an issue with my family, or like I know I have a concert next week, and I come up to my German colleagues and the college, like, yeah, in my university or in my at my work, they would be neutral and trying to say, yeah, we wish peace and everywhere, and this is nothing, because it dehumanized my issue. Also, I'm at my university. I remember it. I used to study actually here in Berlin, and I quit my studies because of that. Because the minute I started my studies, it was in October 2023, and I was studying something that has to do with the politics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the vibe was the whole time very toxic, trying to not open up this. Like, we could talk about all the politics topics in the world, but not that topic. And I mean, if you try to avoid something, it will come up at some point.
Of course. I mean, if you look at how the German media talks about universities here, they're hotbeds of radicalism, right?
Yes.
But, of course, there have been occupations, there have been protests, but I'm not sure that actually there's that much organizing. It's not like it's a ever-present topic at the university, whereas it is, I think, in the media and in people's lives.
I don't know if you know that, but there's a new law that is anti-Semitic law. Like, if
the Hochschulengesetz, yes.
Exactly. And I was in a Hochschule, and I was like, yeah, maybe I took the first step before they took it. Before they kicked me out, I kicked myself out.
Right. So the Hochschulengesetz was heavily criticized by a lot of academics for being against like freedom of speech, because it limits what you can say partly to the IHRA definition, which has been heavily criticized by academics, that, you know, they've proposed the Jerusalem Declaration as an alternative. The same thing that passed, it's kind of the same, a different version of the law that passed a few months ago, last November, about anti-Semitism, which was also criticized, and that was more about state funding. So, you know, it's gone from this toxic environment, as you called it, to actually law. And that's where it starts to get, in my mind, even scarier.
No, it's like, it's not only about feeling safe about myself. I sometimes ask my mom not to go alone on the streets. That's how it is. And like one time, I don't want to generalize this, but one time, I don't know if they actually knew that there's a Palestinian family living in this building, but when we got in, we saw like thank you IDF and the big David star on the door of our house. And I was really shocked, because I don't know if they know it's a Palestinian thing, or it's just like someone came up and they just sprayed it. I didn't take it as a threat for my family, but in the same time, it's like, why would you do that, especially here? Because the entire area was clear, the entire, like, the houses. I really took a tour in our neighborhood, just making sure if there's anything similar to it. I mean, you could find some stickers throughout Berlin, but I wouldn't take it personally. But like on the house of my parents, Yes,
That's
exactly.
crazy. I mean, I think that's actually quite notable in terms of German history, right? Because
Yes.
people then, it shows this kind of crazy inversion that we have of German history, because in the past, the Nazis and their German supporters used the Star of David as a way of excluding the Jews.
Exactly.
And it seems possible that they were using this, almost certainly just a German IDF supporter was using that to support the exclusion of Palestinians, and this kind of weird identification with their former victims, which we've talked about with Deborah Feldman on this before, on this channel. But it's really shocking, and I can't imagine how much fear you might have been going through.
Not on me, actually, on my family, because I didn't want that my family feels that they are under threat. Especially that I am the most of them that speaks out. I'm the one who sings in this family. I'm the one who goes out and speaks about this issue more than them. If they would speak it, they would speak about with their friends or in their workspaces. But I'm the one who's loudly talking about it. And I live alone. But my address that I always give out is their address.
Right.
That's the thing. But I didn't talk about it a lot or thought about it a lot. What I did is just brought some white paint. I painted over. Someone on the street passes by and he said "Free Palestine," and they just kept walking. It was like, yeah, if someone came again and they wrote it again, I will take it as a threat. But maybe they didn't know. Maybe it was like calming my mother and my sisters down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Germany's probably the only place in the world where you get pro-IDF graffiti, right? Like,
yes, no, this is crazy, because it's one thing that you support the civilians and stuff, but you can't support the killing of children. And also, before the genocide or the last 15 months, I would sometimes not understand, but like get that idea. Why are they like that? Because maybe they're not told enough. They're ignorant. They don't know the history, or they don't know what's going on. But now, if you open TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you go, wherever like you listen to, you can find not, I wouldn't say the whole truth, and you would be on our sides of the history, but maybe you can get the idea of it. And I know lots of people who were Zionists or on that side, or like they don't know anything about it. With the time, they let themselves like to be taught a little bit about the truth, and then they really understood what's going on.
Sure. I mean, I do think, there was quite a loud and proud supporting network of Israel in Germany. I think they've got a lot quieter, right?
Exactly.
Apart from the people who it's their job, there are some people who, get a lot of money from the German government.
As well.
But actually, in terms, like, they have positions in the media, but you can see demonstrations that they organize, and it's like 5 people, they can get 100 people out for a demo. I mean, it's supposedly against anti-Semitism sometimes. Of course, we should be against anti-Semitism, but the way they conflate that with support for an army where, we can say without a doubt that like the former leader of that army is wanted for war crimes by the International Court.
They don't care about that.
No.
Like, to go back to your question about being Palestinian in Germany, at some certain of times before the past 15 months, I would remind myself that I'm in a democratic place. Like, even though they support whatever they support, at the end of the day, I'm in Germany. They like know their history. I'm safe. And then I got reminded again that they don't care about this shit. Like, they will just erase you or wherever.
Yeah, it seems sometimes they haven't been sticking to the law, and this idea that Germany was, what the thing that they care about is following the rules. It's like, no, they want to get ahead of the rules.
Exactly. This is my point.
In terms of censorship.
Yeah, no, Germans are all about the rules. But if you go down to the Palestinian demonstrations, you would see the laws are just thrown in the trash. The policemen can beat the woman, can beat the children.
Yeah.
They can take the children out of their places. They invade places of my friends, the Palestinian friends. They can censorship you if you say Free Palestine or something. Like, I mean, 2 days ago or like yesterday, they prevented speaking Arabics or like chanting Arabics in the Palestinian
yes, it's now banned, right?
See what I'm talking about? It's like, where are the laws? Where is...
I mean, I think a good example for this is the phrase "from the river to the sea," right?
Exactly.
Which multiple courts have found is legal. So the way German courts work is a bit complicated. They don't have precedent as in the same way that you do in other places. But many courts, because it basically got banned by the Interior Ministry in Berlin. Berlin has been a lot stricter on this issue, probably because there are so many Palestinians living here. We'll come to that in a second. But, you know, it's actually banned. I don't know if you know this, but it's banned because it's supposedly a slogan of Hamas, and Hamas is banned. So you can't allow, but it's not a slogan of Hamas.
No, it's not only that. They suppose from the river to the sea is a way to erase all the Israelis from the river to the sea in Palestine, which means you wish the death of all the people who are living there.
Do you think it means that?
I mean, no, it doesn't mean that, because before, what I love is if you look through the history and really look, don't come up as Germans. You're German. You don't know what my history is. Don't ban what I say before you actually know what that means. Before that, I never thought of that. You know what I'm like? I really never thought that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, means that the killing of everyone who is there. Because the minute they brought this up, I started to think, oh no, that like I would understand why they would think that, but it's not like that. Like, you brought it up, you think that. I don't think that. Don't put words in my mouth. And like some people try to justify the saying is like, no, the river is West Bank and the sea is Gaza. And no, it's not like that. It's like freeing the Palestinian doesn't mean to kill the Jews or the Israelis over there. And if you say that, that means that we can't. Maybe I don't want to go there, but like you brought this up. I didn't brought this up, so don't put words in my mouth.
Yes.
That's the thing.
That's what it seems to be. It's like they interpret everything with Palestine as the worst possible way, because maybe that's, you know, their own projection. Because when they wanted to free Germany, their way of doing it was to kill as many Jews as they could, and they destroyed so much of Europe, and, you know, something like 2/3 of European Jewry, and they think everyone else wants to do it. I don't think it's
not only that. It's also it's the way to dehumanize and take the empathy from people's heart against the Palestinian, and also they wanna connect so many more the killing and like weird, scary vibes towards the Palestinian issue, so less and less people could support that. People would be scared to be loud in the affair of Palestine and the Palestinian issue and cause. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying, and this hasn't started in the last 15 months, shall say. The 2021, I was on one of those demonstrations, and we were not allowed to chant anything in, like, anything has to do with Allah's name, God's name.
Wow. They
would think it's a threat or something.
Right.
And I was screaming the entire time, telling the people not to say anything in God's name, just trying to stick to free Palestine, free Palestine. Palestine is an Arabic country.
But even that, they say, is a threat, right?
Exactly.
Because it's like, well, okay, do you want Palestine to be like, what do they expect Palestine is?
No,
right?
it's only like, as you said, they're all always like connected.
It's a bad faith interpretation, right? I think in some cases, and like I understand, and it's I think it's good to talk about these things, and you can learn from each other's. But I think the way that it's often approached with this censorship is this, you know, tiger finger.
Yes,
and it's like, I'm telling you what your beliefs are, and I find your beliefs disgusting. It's like, well, those not necessarily my beliefs. You know, I'm a journalist. I don't think my beliefs matter particularly. I'm here to discuss, and I've noticed like this is the tendency. It's really just shoving what they interpret your beliefs to be down your throat.
Yeah,
you know?
no, as a Palestinian in Germany, you don't have the right to speak, you don't have the right to demonstrate, you don't have the right to say anything freely. If I speak about my like family who has been killed in Gaza, I have to be really careful of the words I say, of how much mad I can get, of how much sad I can get. I'm not allowed to say anything outside of their terms of words. Even the songs I have, like when I sing on the stage, I have to think first time, a second time, a third time about the words I say. I remember in 2016, I wanted to sing a song, and then a woman came up to me and she's like, you know what? In the same day of the concert, she came up to me and she's like, you're not allowed to sing that song, otherwise you're gonna be censorship. And then I looked again onto the lyrics. There's nothing. I wouldn't go up on the stage and say something. I'm just a girl who sings, like a Palestinian old.
What was the problem with that?
You know, maybe it's like I remember that it has something to do with glorifying the martyrs. and glorifying the people who dies.
Yeah. But I think this. So actually, I think it was my first story for Al Jazeera was about Palestinians who they got told they would be deported. They're both from Gaza. They were told they would be deported for saying something on Facebook about the martyrs. What people don't realize is that martyrs does not refer to Hamas.
Exactly.
It refers to everybody, right?
Yes,
everyone who dies.
My uncle is a martyr. His entire family, my friends, my like when I chant for them, I chant for these people that I know, my beloved ones, and I don't think about this. About they come again, and we go back to that. What we just spoke about is that they always assume that you willing. Of like you have a bad intention out of it, and now I can't glorify some places, some like things, and I have to be really, really careful, not only with the songs, but only with the words, only with the I don't know the phrases I sometimes speak on the stage with my friends around here, especially I can't speak freely, and I don't mean by that I wanna speak freely and wish death for everyone, but like I don't wanna feel that oppressed everywhere. Like I'm supposed to be in Europe. I'm supposed to say whatever I want to say, and even this sentence could also mean that, oh my God, she wants to say something that like death to everyone. And
well, you've made it very clear that's not what you wish. And
exactly.
You've just reminded me there was actually a case of there was a concert in Berlin, quite in October 2023, and someone said, on stage, a rapper, I believe, said you can't really speak openly at the moment, and that was enough for a headline in the Bild Zeitung.
Yes, I know a guy.
We know what you want to say. You want to say "kill all the Jews,"
yes,
right?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, I don't know if that's the case.
This is another face of oppression. Like you're just oppressing me. It doesn't matter where. I'm just like here oppressed with water and electricity and like health insurance, and that's it. And I don't want to say that because I know what people would say, like would answer me, and especially the Germans. Then go back, and I say, bro, if you think about it twice, if they stop funding what's going on, and if they let me to go back to a place where I can actually build, I'm totally 100% sure. But at the end of the day, I'm also a person. I deserve to live as well as you, and I'm not living on like someone's charity. I know what I'm bringing to this. I don't want to say country, but I know what I'm bringing. Like I'm not living on anyone's charity, and to be living in a country for over than 10 years, giving your time and energy and effort, and also believing at some point like, they support because of the politician relationships and the history. I would understand that or like get that. You know what I mean. But the oppressing of me is like erasing and helping. You're now on their sides and not supporting them. There is a difference. Because back in the days, I used to be reminded, but you can't say this and you can't say that because the history between the Jews and Germany. I would get that. I wouldn't be like, no, I want to say whatever I want to say because I get that.
Yeah.
I've been to the places where the Jews got murdered. I've been to Hohenschönhausen. I've been to all these places, and I wanted to really empathize with that history. And I remember the first 2 years I did like a program kind of thing in my school to compromising the Berliner Wall with the Berliner Mauer with the Palestinian Mauer.
Yeah.
And I started like, exactly, the apartheid. And I started to do it very like, maybe one day the Palestinian apartheid wall will fall as the Berliner Wall. I was trying to find like something to compromise these two cultures together. And then one point they refused that. I didn't refuse that. Like I was coming with big mind, with big heart, and I wanted to find like common issues. And them.
Your school blocked you from doing that.
Not only that, but like when I was doing that, I'm trying to merging these two countries because I didn't think of them killing the Jews was something in my benefit. I was like, oh, they know what, like, you know what I mean? It's like
you had a kind of hopeful vision of peace.
Exactly.
And
like they know what the genocide is. I wasn't thinking because one time a guy, like a German guy in my school, he made a joke and he's like, might be thankful for what has happened in Germany. And I was like, you don't get the point. It's not that I was like happy, like even if they killed, I don't know, if they killed anyone, it doesn't matter. It's about the genocide that has happened. It's about the people who were killed here. And it's like the similarity of
Well, I mean, there's actually a book by the scholar at Cambridge University, Ezra Uzirek, who looked into exactly this issue. It's called Subcontractors of Guilt. And we do hope to have Ezra on the podcast at some point. She looked at how Turkish and Muslims, women particularly, were doing kind of going to the death camps, the concentration camps, and they went there, and a lot of them felt like they had been excluded from Germany historically, societally, and they identified with the victims. And they were sort of told, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to feel persecuted, you know. If you're going to be part of us, then you need to be one of the persecutors, right? And so there was actually one person who said, you know, the first time I felt German was when I went to the death camp, because that was when he was treated as German. Really interesting topic. And I think it shows that how much history is part of the identity, but how difficult it is to become part of that. Because we had a discussion about this online last week, or I did rather. There was this, I think they were Palestinian, maybe Syrian, in Der Spiegel, who said, you know, the Holocaust was not us, that's not our lust, that's not our weight, you know. And I don't think they were a German citizen. I do think maybe if you're a German citizen, it's a bit different. If you become a German citizen, maybe you do have to. But like, why would you have to? So I'm British, right? My granddad fought against the Germans. He liberated a camp. I live in Germany. If I want to keep living here, do I have to feel guilty for the Holocaust? I don't feel guilty for it.
It's not about feeling guilty. It's about empathizing with the history, you know. I'm a girl who's really into the history, not only because I love history, because where I'm from. And when I came here, before that, like I knew about the Holocaust, I know about the actions, the First War and the Second World War. But when I came in Germany, I was really interested in the Germans' history. I really got interested. I started to read books, watch movies, go to the camps. I was like all over the place, trying to understand the history and where are they coming from. And then to go back to the point, to today's time, I look at that and was like, this doesn't make sense. This is not the Germany I got to know when I came to Berlin. I thought you guys learned from your mistake. I thought you guys know who's the victim and who's not. I know you guys where our limits are. And I used to like tell a professor I used to know, I was like, I really appreciate what that was back in the day. I remind you, like 2016, 17, I used to glorify how the Germans learned from their mistakes and they will never go back to their mistakes. And it's like they know what are the lines and where not to cross the line. And then I come back for today and I see, well, all lines are being crossed now.
Yeah, I mean, Germany has, one of the key supporters of the International Criminal Court has said that they would not actually arrest arrest Netanyahu, who is wanted by that criminal court. But let's go back to history. And I'm interested in your personal history. You're from Gaza. What was it like growing up there? Because we know about Gaza from the news, most of us. What is it like as a place, and what has happened? I mean, many people from living in Gaza are themselves refugees, right?
Yeah, no, my grandmother, my mother as well is a refugee. She is from Jaffa, but the family of my father are from like Gaza originally. Well, I lived there till my 15th birthday, and 2 weeks after that, I got evicted. No, Gaza was or is my everything. My father in 2010 had to leave Gaza because he saw that there's no more future for his daughter. And the thing is, after 5 years, we got the ability to leave Gaza because the borders were always shut. And I actually am thankful for these 5 years, because otherwise I would have been that much of connected with Gaza. I would have left 10 or 11 years old. As a kid, you don't get to memorize that much. And especially that my father left us, or when I was, not left us, but left Gaza when I was 10 years old, and I was the oldest. I had to be the oldest, actually. And I'm actually very grateful for that, because I got to be more mature for my age. And then when I say I left Gaza when I was 15, they would say, oh, you were a kid. And I was like, no, like, in age, yes, I was a kid. But I also lived more than 3 wars. I was I was in Gaza.
Wow.
You don't get to be a kid in Gaza. And
Wow.
it's in the matter of, you're always expected to be a strong, mature guy or girl. I mean, in 2008, I lived my first war. And I remember I was feeling very mature, trying to write poems and trying to cope with that. Let me start from the beginning and tell you, Gaza is truly one of the best and most beautiful places on the ground. It has the sea, and the thing about their people is they all have one issue, which is freeing that land, and they all have like big pride. And being in Gaza and leaving Gaza was a different thing for me, because Gaza has its own ideology, different from the whole world. We have this Arab pride in us, and I realized, like, and we're not that busy with life. You know what I mean? It's like we're not busy with the.
I mean, the economy is kind of struggling
Exactly.
a little bit, right? So it's
Exactly.
not there's because, arguably because of the siege, the blockade
Yeah.
on goods, it's quite hard to get the economy working, and then there's a lot of aid and stuff. So, yeah.
What I mean by that, and it's very hard for me to explain, because I tried to explain for everyone through the last 10 years what the Gaza's ideology is and how we actually live and think. And I got to show the world what my community is after, like, unfortunately this 15 months, because people decided actually to look into this community. No, Gaza is not only beautiful because of its sea and because of its food and because of its culture, but only the people there. They know that you're going through a hard day and they're gonna support you, whatever. We're a community together, not like, I don't want to say some places, but like it's, you're there and everyone knows everyone. Everyone is family with everyone. Everyone is welcoming everyone.
But it must be tough as well, right?
It was tough. The thing is, I feel like I'm betraying Gaza when I say that, but like, it was tough. I never realized it's when I was in Gaza, I never wanted to actually leave Gaza. And when I left Gaza, and now 10 years, and now I'm in between. It's like, maybe I can't go back. Maybe I can't go and live this life again.
Because
like,
there's not enough food, or because of the danger from
oh, okay.
bombs,
I mean, danger, not knowing what's gonna happen next. Electricity, food, future, everything. I don't want to give them the right to say, oh, we see Gaza is not a place to live in, because I want to go back one day and I want to make it possible for me to live there. But for now, it's like I'm in between, and I know some people like argued with me very hardly when I said I want to go back there. I was like, what are you going to do there? There's nothing for you to do. Like, make the best out of being here in Europe, and then when it's freed, when it's has food or something, you go back. But like, when I was in Gaza, I lived that 2008 war, the 2012-13 war, and the 2014-15 war.
Wow.
They were, and the longest one was 52 days. So I can't actually say I lived something, because for us, it was the longest, the 52, the 2014-15, and I lost people. I saw some bombed places. I was in bombed places. I lived some crucial moments in that times, but something in there, the spirit in there, keeps you going, keeps you like distracted of being, oh my God, I wish I had, like, yes, we do wish we had more electricity, because as a kid, like, half of my days was only on candles or like these fire lamps. It's like, as you live in 1990 something, or like 1980 something, very back in the days. And but as long as I was in Gaza, I never thought of that. Like, not even my mama, not even anyone was like, this is the norm. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, yeah, the internet gets shut, the electricity gets shut. Okay, yeah, whatever. We read books. I sing for them. I go, like, we meet all of the cousins and stuff. We meet together in one place. We sing, we cook, we try to do something.
And is that how you got into singing?
I started singing when I was 7 or 8 years old, like in my first years in the school. And we in Gaza are very proud of being Palestinian. So every 2 weeks you would have a concert glorifying Palestine and Gaza Sea and all of these things. And I, as a kid, was a very competitive kid. So I didn't know I was singing. I used to read Quran with my mom, and I had like this tiny voice, but then I got onto that, and through my school actually we support hobbies in Gaza, because you don't have electricity, you don't have internet, so you have to have a hobby, you have to have something to occupy you by the time.
No
So,
iPad
yeah.
scrolling or TikTok.
No, this is nothing. This is like, no, you like till that day you would see kids playing on the streets, football and all kind of games on the streets. Till that day, you would find that neighbors are talking to each other. I mean, our neighbors, we used to like give them food through the window. It's like every day we would like share food or sweets together. This culture is still there. And if you go through the world, I mean, yeah, you might find this culture somewhere, but these crucial times or the crucial circumstances built these beautiness in Gaza. In the Fridays, even though, like, for example, one time I was with my family on the sea, and when I say family, it was like over 25-30 human beings on the sea. And then it was at night, and then all of the sudden bombs started to fall, like explosions somewhere. You could see the explosion, you could see the smoke coming up, and then yes, we were scared. Yes, we started to scream and, oh my God, what is that? Because not only it is like scary, it's like, fuck, you were just enjoying being on the sea, and all of a sudden we have to take everything, put it in the bus, and just hope to make it safe at home. On the way, even though we escaped like near death, we just kept singing. And film was like, yeah, we're like going back to home safely. And this ideology is what makes me like miss, like what I miss mostly.
Sort of united in front
Yeah.
of this like horrendous challenge. And, you know, now I think we all saw these pictures of Gazans returning to the north, right? And it
Yeah.
was sort of such a powerful image because it was triumphant in a sense, but then there was so much devastation around them.
Yeah.
And would you say that Gazans are different from other Palestinians and other Arabs in that sense?
Well, one time I said that on my Instagram, and I got really, really bad responses. But before the 15 months. After that, people got to know what I mean. I'm not being arrogant, but I'm not being, wow, we're better than the whole world. But if you look at them, if you look how strong they are through the, and I don't like to I like say they are heroes, because they're not. My grandma is not a hero.
No?
None of them are heroes. They're trying to be heroes because that is the only solution they have. Because no one is supporting us, like actually supporting us. What I'm saying, like yes, we're going on the street. Yes, we're collecting money, but through the 15 months, they were more than allowed to be killed. No one was able to give them the food, the shelters, nothing. Like sometimes I said to myself, like I'm not doing anything actually, and this what kills me, that they don't have any option but to be their own heroes, to stick together, to be united, because they only got themselves. And I like to remind that to the world, especially after Trump's accusation of him saying that he wants to
make it into the Riviera of the Middle
Exactly.
East, basically ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip.
No, this is not only scary, but like, you know, the Balfour Promise.
The Balfour Declaration,
Yes.
which basically allowed kind of settlement of
Exactly.
Palestine.
It's like,
yeah.
I'm giving you the bride has no groom, and like, maybe people are saying that he is a crazy guy. He don't know what he's talking about. But
Yeah,
if
I
he
mean,
wants to, it could happen.
Yeah, I think at this stage in the second Trump presidency, we're all kind of questioning what actually he means, because I have heard that also Biden proposed this to Egypt and Jordan, and they said no. So, they may give the same answer to Trump,
Well,
or maybe he can
back in
threaten
the days,
them,
they also said no.
Yeah.
Back in the days, they also said no. They even had the war, the 6-day wars.
Yes.
With
Well, they
Israel.
occupy, the Gaza Strip was occupied by Egypt for a long time, right?
And this was after that. Yes, they freed them and then they occupied it and then they left Gaza and all of this history. But like for me, it is scary because they say no at the first, but like look into the history. At the end of the day, Palestinians and Gazans were alone. To go back to your question, if Gazans are different, they are different, even from the other Palestinians, because in that ideology, and the Israeli politicians would say that they would tell you that we couldn't enter Gaza and we couldn't kick the Palestinian from the West Jordan. What we're gonna do to divide these two is we're gonna conquer, like we're gonna siege the entire Gaza Strip, so these people would like to live alone, and then on the other hand, in the West Jordan, we're gonna give them passports, water, electricity. So this they would have different ideologies, and we're gonna divide them. And this is actually true, because if you go there and you go here, you wouldn't think these are the same Palestinian authorities. They're completely different. Not only in the dialects and the culture of food, because this is normal, but also in the ideology of the mind and the way of living.
Yeah, although when I was, so I have been to the West Bank a couple of times, and I was actually struck partly by how international, to some degree, the West Bank is, but also the people I met there. They said, "Oh, we have friends in Gaza." I'm like, how? You can't go there. Like, oh, we make friendships like through the internet, and we talk to each other and stuff. It was very.
I do have also Palestinian friends in the West Bank.
Yeah.
I've never met them. Even in the 40.
Could you not travel to the West Bank?
No, I don't think I'm allowed, because if I want to go through the Jordan, I think I have to pay insane amount of money and have. It's not
realistic. And when you were in Gaza, were you able to? I know in the past people were able to go between them, but then I've heard that between Gaza and the West Bank.
Oh yeah.
But then after the Oslo Accords happened, actually, and they did remove the settlements from Gaza, the Israeli settlements, but then actually it got hard. Yeah, but then it actually got harder.
Yes.
For many people in Gaza.
No, you can't go. You can't go at all. Like, I can't visit Jerusalem. I sometimes dream of how hard it is.
I've been there. It's a very impressive and powerful place.
It is. Like, sometimes I have these dreams that Jerusalem is just nearby. I can see the Al-Aqsa Dome, but I can't go there. And I'm working towards it, and it keeps going further and further. I can't reach it. And that is the thing, that this is one way of them trying to exclude the Gazans community from the others. Like, we can't, if I want to go to Jerusalem, if I want to go to the West Bank, I'm not allowed, simply because I was born in Gaza. That is how simple it is. And it was, back in the days, allowed to the certain age to go there. But like the checkpoints, how humiliating it would be. They would prevent you to get anything in or out side of Gaza. And you would think to yourself, as a 60-something years old, as my grandma, when she wanted to go there and she went there, she went back very sad and very tired, and she said to herself, this is very humiliating for me, a 62, 63 years old woman. You don't want to go through that. You don't want to be reminded of the occupation that is taking over your land and handling you so badly and so poorly.
And you know what? I have to admit, I had never thought about the similarities between the siege of Gaza and the so-called apartheid wall and the Berlin Wall until you just mentioned that. So, because you would think, in a sense, Germans might be able to empathize with this, because they lived, East Germans in particular, they lived behind this very controlled environment where they were humiliated if they tried to leave. They were spied on all the time.
Exactly, the checkpoints.
And West Germans coming to East Germany and stuff. And I do want to talk more about Palestinians in Germany. I mean, I think through some kind of accident of history, actually Berlin is one of the most Palestinian cities outside of the Middle East, right? Like there's really a lot of Arabs in Sonnenallee. You see the Palestinian flag everywhere. I don't think I've been to, maybe Vienna, but what's this feeling within the Palestinian community in Berlin like?
Well, you know what? The reason I came to Germany, the reason my father decided to come to Germany is because of the Sonnenallee, especially Islam, especially the Palestinian flag and his beans. How he made the Palestinian way. Exactly, the fool. Actually, I remember the Skype call. He was like, look, he has the same food as us.
Yeah.
He used to live in Italy.
Ah.
Yeah, he was an Italian cook. He still is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and the thing is, no.
So before I came to Germany, I have to admit we don't have as much Arab food in the UK. Falafel was quite hard to get hold of. Okay. And then I think I had it first time properly in Palestine, where it was very authentic. And then I came to Berlin, I'm like, no, it's actually pretty good here. If you go to the right places, if you go to the right places. Yes.
The thing is, no, Gazan's food is different.
Yeah, I haven't tried Gazan food.
Yeah, no, we have a different taste in falafel and hummus and everything. We have other spices and other ways. And I tell you a secret. If I go to a restaurant and I see, or when I want to go to a Middle Eastern restaurant and I see the way they're preparing the food and it reminds me of Gaza and nothing is saying that it's Gaza, I know it's not a Middle Eastern, because they know they know what the recipes are. They're trying to, because we have like a very special, as in Gaza, a special way to prepare hummus, and with the green sauce on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I see it on the photos in the Google reviews, I know it's not a Palestinian. I know it's them trying to do something very similar. No, being a Palestinian in Berlin is like, in general, a very multicultural place, which I really love. Like, I always say, if I wasn't in Berlin, if I was something else, I would never survive being in Germany. Because Berlin and Germany,
definitely,
two divided places. And nothing has to do with the politics and policies and stuff, but the people over there. Like, I mean, half of my neighbors are not, I wouldn't say are not German, but even the Germans are more like,
well, they say Berlin ist nicht Deutschland, Berlin
yes,
is not
exactly.
Germany.
This is...
But it is very German, right?
I mean, it's if you go to certain areas as well, but like, even if...
Well, the way, on the one hand, the way that it runs, some parts of it run quite well, the public transport system. But then on the other hand, the way that you're very heavily policed here.
Yes.
And you have to follow a lot of rules and stuff. And, sometimes you see punks with big Mohicans and then they're waiting for the traffic light to go red. Whereas my mum, like a middle-class lady who plays golf, she'll walk over without thinking about it. Yes. So there's still a lot of German stuff here.
No, oh my God, no. Yeah. It's German in the Behörde and the...
oh God, yeah.
Yes, it's like Germany as well, but like the nighttime, I would say. Like if you go through the U-Bahn, one time I went to Rostock. It wasn't even like, I couldn't stay more than one day. It was so racist. It was so bad. It was so, I cried at the end of the day. I couldn't, like, I don't cry usually.
No.
Like I'm a strong, I speak German very good. I can't answer back, but I couldn't. I broke down. I cried the whole entire, like, I broke my trip with my family and we went back to Berlin.
What happened?
Oh my God, they were so not only racist, but like a second base of racist. Like, and the first minute where we entered Rostock, an old guy, maybe 90 years old or something. Like, if I kicked him, he would have fallen down. He kicked my mom. Yes, I don't know if he really actually realized that we are her daughters or something, but he was waiting for the moment. He entered our crowd because we were with a group. He entered our crowd. He went through to my mom and he kicked her and he said like a word in German, like schrecklich, was like very bad or something. Yes, exactly, awful. And he kicked her with his
your existence
shoulder.
Is awful, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, no! It's like this word schrecklich or hässlich. I've heard so many times, not only in Rostock but also in Berlin.
Wow, is that what they say to abuse people? I mean, I look. I'm white.
It's about,
I don't get that.
No, it's about how I look. It's about the hijab thing.
The hijab.
Yes, especially when my mom, because sometimes maybe they think, oh, I'm a girl. Maybe I speak German, so they're afraid. But mostly with my mom, when I'm with my mom, they would go through towards my mom and say something. And I would be there. Like, this is my chance to rise. I would answer them very loudly because I believe in the fact that we shouldn't ignore them. We should make them feel very hesitant next time of thinking of being racist against anyone. Because
As they say, make racists afraid again. You know?
exactly.
So I was always really surprised by how normalized racism is here, because I'm not going to say there's no racism in the UK. That's clearly not true. But it's like this. There's all these kind of videos of someone uses a racial slur on the metro, on the tube, we call it, and the whole carriage like beats the crap out of them. You know?
Yeah. See, no, here in Germany,
no
a guy would say anything he wants in the U-Bahn, and no one would be like would trust himself to say something,
well,
because
I don't know if they trust themselves, they don't care, or they think, oh, we have to keep out of it.
Exactly.
I do try to understand that. I think this lack of civil courage, as they call it, it's one of the main issues here.
Yeah, no, actually, they are like afraid if they because it's always something has with the law, something has with the politics, something has with that. If you kick him, if you do something, if I would defend myself, like one time, my friend kicked a guy because he was so near her, and the cameras in the tram would show that she got accused of kicking him.
Yeah.
And she only pushed him away. So that is the thing. People would be afraid, like, I don't know that guy. Why would I?
I mean, German laws are very good at protecting perpetrators. Exactly. I wonder why.
Exactly. That is the thing. Like, people would be afraid to immerse themselves in this situation because they would end up with a problem.
Yeah, and it's better not to...
Exactly.
Well, no, I'm not going to bother. I don't want to cause a problem for myself, yeah.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, I obviously don't support that. But I do want to come back to being Palestinian in Berlin, and also music. I mean, being Arab, let's say, because you sing Arab traditional music. Palestinian. And is there, your audiences, when I've seen you live, were mostly non-Palestinian, but is there also like a Palestinian cultural scene here? Do people like it? Do you get older people coming up to you and say,
oh my God, yes. When I came to Germany, I felt very lonely, and I went to my mom and I was like, I don't know what to do here. And like, I lost all my friends, my family, my concerts. I was fire in Gaza. And she's like, start your own Instagram site and start to post your little videos of, it used to be 15 minutes, so I would post a song on like 15 seconds of like 1 minute of the song. And it started expanding, and then people would come up to me and interviews and would ask me, what is the point of singing to Gaza in Germany? Because you sing in Arabic, so the non-Arabs wouldn't understand you, and the Arabs know already about Palestine, so what is your job actually here? And then with the time I started to like make some concerts. Most of them were Arabs, most of them were Palestinians. It is like the most beautiful thing when like a older man or a woman come up to him and is like, I've been here for 45 years in Germany, and this is the first time I felt the most like warm and close to Palestine, and this gave me hope and gave me more like energy to do more. And then at some time, it was in the first of the war. It was December 2023. And the first gig of Gaza. And back, like before that, I used to like have, most of them used to be non-Arab, most of them Arabs, most of them Palestinian or Arabs, just enjoying the vibes, just enjoy the music of Palestinian culture. You've been there, it's a very like...
Yeah, traditional music, but very powerful as well.
Exactly. And then when the genocide started, I couldn't go up on the stage again. I couldn't like just sing happily about the Palestinian culture and sing and dance all over the place, because come on, man, my people are being killed now. It's not the place for music. This is my first thought. And in the first gig of Gaza, I went up, I wrote them an email. I told them I like, if I go up, I would go without music, and I would go without, like, with the promise of no one dancing. Like, it's not a party. We're not coming here to dance. We're coming here to talk about Palestine or like memorial. I went up on the stage and I realized that it's not only speaking, and I'm not translating actually the words as you watch. I'm talking about like some stories.
Yeah, personal stories.
Exactly, personal stories. Why I chose this song, maybe what I remember through this song. What is this song connected to? And this was the first time I realized I can actually shift my whole thing. This the thing I wanted to do the entire time. I want to expand not only the audience but also the people who are connected to the Palestinian music. And this is my way to like defend and talk about Palestine.
And do you see yourself as, making a career as a musician? You have a lot of followers on Instagram. You're performing concerts. I mean, would you write songs as well, or you prefer to? Because you're young. You could be making pop music, maybe.
And the thing is I don't know. I'm really stuck to the traditional music. It's like, this is what I love. This is my identity. This is what I used to do in Gaza, and I'm stuck with this whole the same identity as today. Like some people say, you have to write something, you have to say something, and I was like, no, I'm one of the people. Like I love to call myself, I'm protecting the Palestinian cultural music, because mostly they were sang by Palestinian women, and I like to be part of this chain. You know what I mean? I like to enter this chain and be like, even if I'm not in Gaza, I don't want to do something only for me, but also for the Palestinian cultural music. I want to be part of this chain. I want to be part of this group of women. You know what I mean? And as long as I know so many songs, I'm not bored of them. I would stay sing these songs and trying to play with them, like putting them together, because sometimes I just like play with the lyrics, with the words, sometimes also for the political situation here in Germany, but as well as just to make something new out of it, but without erasing the whole idea of the song. And this is the thing that I love mostly. Like maybe I could do it as a career, but for now it's something I do because I need this more than I need it for myself, for my mental health. You know what I mean? When I come up on the stage and see people seeing me and hearing my stories, my grandma's stories and my family's stories, this makes me feel less scared that I'm not doing anything for Palestine, that I'm just like, especially when I was a kid, when I wrote the history and I saw what was going on, I was like, how could these people let this happen? Like, how were they not going nuts? If I were there, I would have done something. And then I am here, and I'm not doing anything actually special. I'm just trying to fill some gaps in my mind by singing, by poetry, by some kind of stuff. Trying to, like, convince myself that I'm actually doing something.
Yeah. Music is a very powerful, tool, instrument, you could say. And I think it's very therapeutic for people, right? It's something, it's pure emotion, actually, if you think about it. And there's a message behind it and stuff. So yes. I think it's been really useful and comforting for a lot of people to hear your music and Arabic music as well.
غير هني رب البيت يجمعني أنا وهني يا جماع غيمك بالسماء زعق طير الحمام وقال بتهون علينا وعلى جميع الخلق بتهون حق من نزل المي من العيون ذكركوا عندي دوم ما انتسى ذكركوا عندي دوم ما انتسى.
I think music has been one of these places, concerts and stuff, where people have felt like they can express solidarity that's not just in a march.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
You often hear, there's this song Palestine that gets played, and then people chant, and
Dami Falastini.
Yes.
Dami Falastini. Yes,
yeah. And people have been doing remixes of that.
Yes,
and stuff.
yeah.
So I think it's something where Arabs, alongside the food, can be proud of their culture, and then of course Palestinians and Gazans have their own particular repertoire. Do you sing special songs from Gaza as well?
No, most Gazans' song I would be really censored if I sing them
Right.
rebellion. So I
like
stuck with the community,
the classics.
Yes,
You stick
exactly.
to the classics.
Yes, I'm trying to search in the history about like very old, very nice.
But you know, coming back to this question of the Palestinian community in Berlin, how have people been experiencing this for the last year? Not just you and your family, but your wider community. Are they scared?
Well,
Are they
because
hopeful?
because of that, the Palestinian community is not that united. You know what I mean? Because some people are more scared than the others. Like some people want only to like do food and specific music, and not like when I came up here and like when I came to Germany and I started to work with the Palestinian community. Nothing against them, but I was like, what is the point of creating every 1 year party for the Palestinian community and not expanding our ideas? And I started to say, maybe we can do a chart in Palestinian corner food and bigger festivals, to go to Brandenburger Tor and just like give people some food or like songs, lyrics or something. And they were scared of it. They were like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to stick to the traditional Palestinian community kind of thing.
People want to keep under the radar because
Exactly.
your existence is problematized, right?
Exactly.
Assumed, if you say you're Palestinian, sometimes they think, that means the Jews can't exist. They can't have their own state or something. It goes really far just with this word, how much it triggers people. And in fact, you see it a lot in German media, particularly from certain commentators. They won't even say Palestinian, they say so-called Palestinian.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Gänsefüßchen. With how does that make you feel?
Well, sometimes I would laugh. It was like, whatever you say, bro. You're not gonna change in the fact that I'm Palestinian and that I exist. And also because I believe one day, like I believe in our rights. I believe in the Palestinian cause, and I do know one day the liberation would happen. How long it's like, if they go through the history of their own history, they won't understand that nothing lasts forever. And that's what's given me insurance. Like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like at some point, I'm not gonna even think about it. You're just an ignorant human being, or you don't know enough, or like at this point, especially that everyone is talking about Palestine, and if you just open anything, either you live under a rock, or you just don't wanna understand this. It's like you actually deliberately chose to be against humanity. And at this point, when we're talking now, I don't care anymore. It's like, do whatever you want, say whatever you want. I know who I am. I know my culture. I know how strong my culture and my people are. And one day I will point at you and laugh, haha, I told you. This is what is keeping me like going through, actually.
Stay hopeful. Wafaa Saied, singer, thanks very much for coming on the podcast. And we look forward to seeing the film about you, short film, when it's out, and hearing more of your music.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you. It was a lovely conversation. Right. I hope I don't get cancelled after that.
Mashallah. Yeah, inshallah.